Okay, you guys are live.
Welcome, lab coat agents. Hopefully you don't see me on the screen. You see all these beautiful ladies. We are here for the social media mastermind. We did about 3 weeks ago. We did a panel on people 5 year in the business. Turned out really well. A lot of the things that we got on that were focused around social media. And so I know all of these ladies, and I've seen them on social media. I see what they post, and I'm like, wow, that's like, they get tons of engagement, and like I post something and it's just like, falls flat. So number one, I'm doing this for me, right? So 100% selfish. I am like taking vigorous notes. I have my notepads here. So we're gonna open it up, right? And we're just gonna go to introductions. Where are you from? How long you been in the business? And what's your niche, however you say that, depending on what part of the country you're in. So we'll start top left of the screen. Alonda Hawkins in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Hey, y'all. Actually, I don't say y'all. I'm originally from Ohio. I'm Alonda Hawkins. This is my second year in real estate. I just recently made the switch over to Keller Williams as of last week. I am a single agent. I don't have a team or a transaction coordinator or anything of that sort yet. This year, what am I saying? Oh yeah, this year I probably will close about between 31 and 33 units by the end of the year. And in terms of volume, about maybe 6.3 to 6.5 million, which I'm excited about for a second year.
Oh yeah.
As Brad said, I am in Winston-Salem. I serve Winston-Salem, Greensboro, the Triad area. We're in the same city half the time of your life, Brad. And yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. Love it. Glad to have you. Miss Tara Carter out of Fort Lauderdale.
Hi, guys. I'm excited to flamingo with all of y'all. And I'm from South Florida, but I still got like a little Southern twang just because you can't help it down here. I am going in almost my 5th year of real estate. I am a 3rd generation realtor. We will close close to 30 million, and we've never paid for a lead before.
Oh, I definitely can't say that. So congratulations on that. Next up, Sarah Rocco, Jacksonville.
Okay, my name is Sarah Rocco, Jacksonville, Florida. I've been in the business for just shy of 5 years. Run a pretty large team here, and we will help 202 families if everything closes out this year. Nice. And my philosophy, Brad, I think you wanted a philosophy in regards to social media, and the reason I think maybe it might be a little different than some of the other ladies is my goal is to leverage out as much of it as I can so I don't have to be the person behind it all. And so I'm excited to share with everyone about that.
I love that. Fantastic. Stevie Hahn.
Hi, I'm Stevie Hahn. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida as well. And I've been in the business for 5 years. And I have been utilizing social media since the beginning, since day one. And honestly, that is my business, is social media.
Yeah, no, I think we started around the same time, and so I remember I don't remember what group it was, but I'd see you, and then and then I was like, oh man, she's killing it. So I'm super stoked to connect with you here, and I joined in on your mastermind that you do every now. Well, you do it every week. I join in every now and then, but
yes.
No, super excited to have you. Fantastic, Taria.
Thank you for pronouncing my name right.
Sure, I taught phonics, English, K through 5, so I should be able to do that at this point.
Yeah. So I'm Taria Galvez. I am in Hampton Roads, Virginia. I am wrapping up my 3rd year as a realtor. And unlike Miss Rocco over here, I love doing it all. I love doing it all by myself. And maybe that's a gift and a curse, but I love being able to do everything, be so creative with social media and engage with my audience.
So I remember fantastic. Well, I just opened up to see the comments coming in, and I didn't turn the volume down. It's a rookie mistake. I apologize. I'll try to clean it up as we keep moving forward here. So I love it, right? And I love the broad spectrum of folks that we have here, right? I want to open it up, right? We all use social media, right? If you're on Lab Coat Agents right now, you use social media because it's a social media platform, right? So my like golden question is like, how do you bring your, friend base into the mix into being clients, right? Like, how do you turn, the people that you're just like friends with or whatever, like, and I know this is a broad question and we'll go more detailed. What's your take or what's your philosophy on, okay, I'm engaged on social media and I'm going to do it in this way because I know that's what engages people to bring me business. I didn't say that question very clearly. I hope that makes sense. Would love for someone to jump in and take that. Save me, please.
So you're saying, how do you convert like people that are your friends or your followers into clients?
Well, how do you engage them in a way to do that, right? Like, I mean, I feel like I have a good social media presence, but I don't do a ton of business from social media, like directly. I don't think, maybe, but I know that you guys do. So what's your philosophy around how do you take these friends, these followers, these, random people or friends or family and get them to engage with you in a way that brings you business, right? Because honestly, like, I don't really want people all up in my life unless I can make money from it. So
I say it comes down to, so I follow an 80-20 principle rule. So it's 80% personal and it's 20% business. And it comes down to also asking questions to engage your audience. And it also comes down to the person who talks the most dominates the conversation, and the person who asks the most questions controls the conversation. So are you dominating your social media and just talking about me, and I'm so fabulous? Or are you engaging your sphere of influence in your audience and asking questions and asking them, like, what can I do to help you? Like, what small business do you have that I can encourage or be able to promote you? And you have to have that mindset, the generosity generation, to where it's really all about them and sticking to that 80-20 rule.
I would say we've all been burned by social media where you'll see an alert of like, so-and-so just bought a house and it's a really good friend of yours. And you're like, ouch. Maybe I was a silent agent. Maybe I, didn't reach out enough. And so one thing that we've utilized is a virtual assistant who all she does, her primary role is to stalk people on social media. And then she'll take information or life events they have or vacations, and then she'll put it in our CRM. So that way we can then go engage with them on the events they posted online. So it looks like we're super, super engaged in their life, but really it's our assistant that's just taking down their information.
I'll say for me, I think the thing that wins for me in social media is telling stories and really focusing consistently on high engagement. So actually all the ladies here on the panel, for the most part, I had already been following and have pretty large followings. I would say that I have a pretty small following, but I pack a pretty strong punch because of high engagement. So I'm always telling stories. I'm always like giving kind of behind the scenes, telling funny stories about my kids and telling funny stories about, something that might have happened with the client. And I engage in conversation as if I'm talking with a friend. Every now and again, I'll ask for something, like I might ask for a referral, I'll ask for their business. But as Tara said, that 80-20 principle of 80% of it is really just making them feel like they know me, because in real estate, we're considered like one of the least trusted in the profession. And so this is a really great opportunity to gain their trust. There's so many times where I'll have a person who ends up becoming a client who had been following me for a long time, and they always start their sentence with, I've been following you for a while. I love your kids. I love to see what da 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 da. And then they'll, talk about business. And so you are that is a really great opportunity to gain trust without having to work too hard.
I think for me, something different that I could add is that whenever I've always utilized putting on events since the beginning. Before I had any past clients, I was doing networking events, and I would always invite people off of line, like people that I was connecting with and I saw that were engaging with me. I'd be like, hey, I'm hosting this event. Like, I would love for you to attend. I would love to meet you and really take that relationship offline. I feel like that's been really beneficial. Also, besides inviting them to events, but just being like, hey, let's get together. Let's grab a cup of coffee. Let's see how we can help each other's businesses, like in this non-salesy way, or even like other events that are going on in your area, or other hobbies that you have and you've noticed someone else also has, and engaging with them and be like, hey, let's get together and like really show people, because I do a lot of storytelling online, and I feel like it just relationship so much better when you can take it offline.
Yeah. So Brad, you had mentioned you don't like to share about your life unless it's going to bring you business. So I'm the opposite. I overshare, and that brings me business. I'm sharing everything, especially in my stories. Like, it goes down in my stories. So I'm sharing everything. And if it's something that I want to capture, I'll be like, hold up, let me get my phone. I'll capture it for my stories. I will have my husband walk in and bring me lunch at the office. And I'll say, hold up, go back out, come back in. Let me get my phone. Like, that's how into it I am about sharing, but it brings me business.
Why do you, I mean, you know, I know that all of you spoke, and I'm going to ask, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think people like want to see your husband bring you lunch?
Well, it's one of my 4 things that I post about. So I have things like my family, which is my husband, my kids. I have fashion. I'm the best dressed realtor, so that's a part of my whole branding.
Let's go.
Let's go. That I post about a lot.
I'm the best dressed realtor.
And my post with my husband brings me lots of engagement. People love to see love.
People do love to see love.
Yeah.
And I think they also want to see like that you're a real human. Like, people just see the just sold, just listed. Oh, I'm doing so great at this. And then they like to see like the other parts of your life, and they want it to be personal, because let's be honest, people only do business with you because they know, like, and trust you. So then why not be able to engage with them on that? And then when it comes down to social media, I learned this from Rachel Adams. So shout out to Rachel. She taught me that it needs to be 10 stories a day in order to reach the most connections. And if you connect that from your Instagram to your Facebook for the stories, and then always doing the 5-5-5 rule before you post, which is going to be liking 5 photos, and you have to be strategic about whose photos that you're liking for that. Like, is it my local realtors whose like photos I'm loving of like their newborn child? Like, I love you and I'm so happy for you, but that's not my strategy for the day. Right. And the other would be 5 comments, which should be more than 3 words, because your analytics would be great. So what that looks like is when you're asking somebody, when you're posting on somebody's comment, that it's not saying, oh, this is great. Oh, this is so fabulous. Congratulations. Like, it's more than 3 words. And then the last 5 would be either a combination between direct messages or within stories for a comment back for engagement. And then you post, and it's essentially cheating the algorithm for Facebook that your engagement will actually go up higher because you did the 5-5-5 rule if you stuck to that beforehand.
Yep. Mind blown.
Blown, right? Like, what the hell are you even talking about? I wrote some stuff down.
Just stick to 5-5-5 rule. So 5 comments. I'm sorry, 5 likes or hearts or a sad face or whatever you want. 5 comments with more than 3 words in it, and then 5 engagements for either direct message or stories that you responded to before you actually post on social media. Is known through this came from Facebook. So the Facebook strategy person had said that actually changes your analytics. You just have to be mindful about like who you're commenting on and who you're liking and who you're messaging. Because let's be honest, I don't want to do that to just the local realtors. I want to be able to do that to the other people that I either want to do business with or I am doing business with. Therefore, they see your stuff more. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Otherwise, if you keep liking only realtors, it'll start showing you realtors and they're not your target audience. So you're wanting to be focusing on who your target audience is. So instead of maybe liking realtors, like think about a local business that might cater to your target audience, and that might be who you're engaging with, because then those people start to come to find you. Does that make sense? So like Instagram really rewards you in terms of like algorithm if you engage the right way. Does that make sense?
We'll go to local hotspot pages and then go follow the people that follow that page.
Yeah.
And engage with them.
Say that again.
So we'll go to like a local hotspot, like a brewery or a restaurant, and then we'll go follow the people that follow that website and then go engage with them until they become followers.
That's strategic. So like I can guarantee you that every single person, these boss babes on this call, there's a strategy behind the social media that we do. It's not just, yes, it's nice to be able to, the stories that she's doing with her husband, people love to see love. That's a strategy. Mm-hmm. So if it's following the local hotspots and the followers that they have, so for example, I'm not going to follow my local brewery and be able to follow those people. I'm going to follow, because this is the clientele that I want. Yeah. I'm going to follow the local 5-star restaurant and then target all of their followers, because that's the followers in the database that I want, instead of, the ones that are just going to go buy a beer and a burger. I mean, those are nice, but I mean, that's not what I'm looking for.
That's why we're not friends on Instagram. I'm just all right. Awesome. So let's talk about strategy, right? So, I mean, I love that, right? So I got 555 written down, go to local hotspots, follow the people that are following them, like target demographics, right? Like, how else what are some other strategies? Like Sarah, I'd love to learn like leverage wise, because I'm not a person that does everything myself, right? And some people aren't. So how are you leveraging other people, VAs? One of the issues I had was my VA couldn't get logged in because she kept getting, they would have to send her a code and they'd be like, oh, they knew that her computer was not in the US and like she couldn't get logged into Facebook. So that was
I think at some point, everyone's going to get to a point where they reach a certain ceiling of their ability to continue. So you may love to do it yourself, but at some point you can't do it all. Mm-hmm. And so like Taria, I think that's awesome and it's great. And I used to like love it myself. And then I watched The Social Dilemma and I was like, and I was like, I want to leverage as much as I can. So anyways, my whole goal in that changed. And when I deactivated my account, my team called me and they said, your account was just reactivated. And I said, why? And they said, because we need to include the past clients and we need to keep friending people on your page. I was like, okay, that's fine. So they manage the whole Facebook. And I think what it allows me to do is so as you all grow a team, if you continue to just brand yourself, it doesn't allow the people on your team or the other individuals on your team to really be highlighted or have a spotlight. So we definitely brand everyone individual because we want to create this team. And so it's a little bit different, is I had to kind of step out of the limelight in order to allow the team as a whole to shine through.
Love it. I got somebody, and I think I know the answer to this. You all post through your personal page, not business, right?
Correct.
Personal page is my business page.
Right. Yeah. And I have a bit. Yeah. I've even gone away. I'm even smart enough to go away from that. So.
And Brad, if I can touch on that, so your personal page, I know there's people that are like, do I post on the personal page or the business page? Your personal page is for building relationships that will turn into referrals. Your business page is to is only for brand awareness and target demographicing. So what does that look like? So like, for example, if I pay somebody $25 a month that they post 5 days a week on the business page. And that just keeps it. If somebody were to go that just the business page, they see that we're active. You don't want somebody to go to your business page and see that you're never active. However, if you wanted to ever target posts to be able to generate leads and whatnot, you have to do that through your business page. So you promote your brand and you target your demographics on your business page, and your personal page is for building relationships that will turn into referrals.
That makes sense.
100%. So you kind of have to have both. And as you grow a business, I think that they want to see, like my personal Instagram is strictly personal. I don't post anything about business because they want to see the personal side. And then our business is still fun and personal, but more business oriented. And then you can tag team both.
I like how Stevie, I didn't even know you until Brad put us kind of together, and then I stalked you, social media stalked you. And so I actually like that you are doing it well at a high level, and you're doing both. So I feel like you'd be the best person to be able to touch on that. Like, how are you taking your stories and then turning them into clients?
Yeah, so I only have one Instagram because I feel as though one for me is hard enough to manage, that I personally can't imagine having two separate ones. But with Instagram, I just post a lot of the behind the scenes. So we do so much as a real estate agent every single day with generating leads. And I just share all the behind the scenes, you know, touring the new construction, resale, open houses, prospecting, and just sharing behind the scenes, and also showing up for other real estate agents and answering questions. And I just feel as though that's what people want to see. They want to see the behind the scenes. They love the storytelling, and it's built such credibility for me that ultimately anybody that I meet, I'm always adding them on my social media platforms, because after they see that, you know, that I actually, you know, everyone says they have their real estate license, right? Everyone's, you know, a lot of people have it, you know, a lot of people do it part-time. And when people go on these social media platforms that I've built up, it's just helped build credibility for myself. And then when they go in and see, like, I actually have sales, I'm actually working, you know, a lot, then it's like they want to do business with somebody like that, who's doing open houses, you know, just answering all the questions, hosting events, doing trainings. I'm hosting a weekly mastermind call. Like they want to work with somebody like that. And that's how, like, all my listing appointments are coming from. I have one tomorrow morning, and they're all coming from social media.
Mm-hmm.
And these are like, I mean, these are people that follow you, give you referrals. Like it's a mixture of all of that, right?
Yeah, actually the listing appointment that I have tomorrow morning, she had referred me to a new construction client, which I had no idea. This client had gone into the site agent, told her that she was working with me, and she hadn't even introduced herself to me yet, but she wanted to work with me. And her friend had referred her to me, and she looked me up on social media, and that like had built credibility. Now tomorrow I have a listing appointment with her, with the person that initially had referred me. And it's just amazing going into these appointments, not having to compete against other real estate agents, because you've already built that trust with them, and they see how passionate you are about your job and how hard you're willing to work. You can showcase that on social media, and that's so powerful, and it doesn't cost anything. I haven't spent any money on leads.
That's the best part. I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
I've only spent, you know, anyway. All right, so sore subject. All right, so fantastic. So you're showcasing like what it's like in a day, kind of like a day in the life, right? Like, and I see that a lot with your stories, and like, you know, I should be smart enough to pick up on it and start doing stuff like that. But I'm always kind of like, well, what's too much and what's not enough, and like, are people going to get bored seeing what I'm putting out there?
Well, that's when you start paying attention to your metrics. Like you kind of, when you pay attention to your metrics and you see the type of posts that are consistently getting high engagement or getting good responses, then you know how to kind of shift the way that you post. So you learn that, okay, the people who are following me, they really enjoy it when I, am doing an outing with my daughter, or, you know what I mean? So you learn that by paying attention to your metrics, and that's how you adjust. I actually am in agreement with Stevie with the idea of combining both, because I'm a mom of 4. So I draw a lot of like women clients, and they like to see the idea of like me balancing the craziness of being a mother to 4 kids while managing like a really busy career. And when I make those type of posts, they jump in terms of engagement. I get lots of questions, and then that opens up conversation, and those conversations always go to, well, I kind of was thinking about selling my house, let's sit down and have coffee. And so I think that you pay attention to the way your metrics work, and that's how you adjust.
Well, I saw that. So I know that a lot of us, and I know that everyone did, like, share I made a post, you guys shared it, or you like copied or whatever. Alana, how many people did you have engage with your post? And you were like, it was like the way that you worded it. You were like, I'm going to be speaking in front of 130,000 agents, and it's really like, I can't believe I'm on this panel or whatever. And people like came out of like, maybe that's just normal, but it looked like people out of the woodworks, like, you got this, you deserve to be there, like, we love you, like it was like people were like it, and I was like, y'all know that she's good, right? Like, let's just. But,
about 200, maybe like 270 comments, and then I started getting lots of texts. But that's because I've learned, like, the people who follow me, they love to hear like the way that I tell stories. So I use that same voice on Instagram. Well, no, actually, that's not true. I have one voice on Facebook and a slightly different, like more comedic voice on Instagram. But I've learned that that's the way that they engage. So I always know, like, if there's a specific way I tell a story on Facebook, they're always going to engage. And so a lot of my posts don't have to be about real estate. Like, I might slide it in where I like tell a story, like I'm on my way to such and such, and then like on my way to pick up a lockbox, and I tell a funny story about something else. And like, they feel like they know you. So there have been clients who I've been friends with or have been following me on Instagram for a year that I've never met in person. And when we meet, to help them buy a house, we engage like we're girlfriends from, back in high school, because of like that type of voice. And so I think in real estate, a lot of people that might have a page where they, just post every time they sell a house, like they're afraid to insert who they are. They're afraid to like show who they are. They're afraid to get on because their makeup isn't right, or, their look isn't right, or their branding isn't perfect. Like, people are literally looking to have some type of connection with you. And I think that we get paralyzed a lot by feeling like we don't have everything perfect before we start. And I think that's not the right way to think. I think you just start and you mess up and you figure out, okay, that doesn't work. But when you discover what does work, you ramp it up and do it more.
I don't want to see perfect.
Yeah.
I don't want to follow somebody who comes off as if they're absolutely perfect. And whenever I do mess up, that's like the best engagement. I'm like, oh no, we're still going to post that. We're going to roll with it. It's the best.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's why none of you follow me and I get poor engagement, because it's just, I get it now. I get it. I just need to be sloppier. Okay. I get it. No, I'm learning a ton. And we're getting great comments on Facebook.
Brad, I'm just so I see that somebody had mentioned like any suggestions on getting some training. And if I had to guess, just because I've been a moderator with lab coat agents for a while, just like you have, is that the majority of the people that are probably watching this are not agents that are kicking butt on social media. There are agents that are like, okay, well, I don't know what my brand is. I don't know who I am yet. I'm too scared to be able to like share and get out there. So before I share what I have, I would like to know from you ladies, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but if you are a brand new agent, you really don't have any money in the bank, and you just maybe you got your license, or you've been trying. There is no try, right? We're all Keller Williams. There is no try. So you're intending to be the best and biggest agent that you can be and showcase that. So do you guys have any suggestions for them?
I would follow the KISS method. Just keep it stupid simple. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're brand new, I think, what Alana said is that so many times it paralyzes you thinking it has to be too perfect or too this or too that. Just keep it stupid simple. Think of yourself as a brand before you're a brand, and then work to that. So think with the end in mind. So if you want to be the brand, even if you're not a big time brand yet, think of yourself like that and show up in that way, and people will feel it.
Yeah. I would say show yourself, show what you care about. Because I coach a few people on social media, and they're always like, well, nobody's gonna like me and my cat. Somebody will like it. All you need is one person to like every post, one person per post that connects with you, that is inspired by you. That's all it takes.
Well, let's be honest. If they didn't like them and their cat, then maybe those aren't their people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not their people. And I think that, so I learned, and this whole business is rip and repeat, right? So like the strategies that I have are not like something that I'm like magically created. One of them that I love is from Tony Giordano, who I went to a conference with him like a few years back, and I implemented something. And for the newer agents, this worked for me very much to get into the luxury business, which was when you go, so like if you have no business, if you have nothing else you're doing besides lead generating, you should be going to look at your MLS, put occupancy status, put vacant, search 500 and under. And all you should be doing is looking at vacant houses all day long. And you take your stories and you walk through the houses and you're like, check out this home. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. Well, I wanted to tap into the luxury business. So I went to every broker's open on Wednesdays in the high-end price market, and then on the open houses on the weekends for 2 reasons. One, I wanted luxury agents to know my name when I bring you an offer, that I am serious. And 2, I also wanted to be able to attract luxury buyers. So what does that look like? You go into a $10 million house and you say, take a story and you say, hey, I'm previewing this home for $10 million. It could be all yours. Do you think the sellers would mind if I jump in the pool? Well, the only person who knows the difference between previewing and showing are realtors.
Right.
I was previewing the home. I didn't say I was showing the home. And I said for a buyer, I didn't say my buyer. So then all of a sudden I started getting messages in the very beginning. They're like, Tara, you're killing it. And I'm like, I haven't even sold a house yet. And then I got my first $5 million referral, and from this guy who owned like an oil company. And so I hit the luxury market in the very beginning because that was the perception that was put out there for others. And again, it comes back to like social media can create any story that you want. And in the beginning, when you had no business, whatever market you want to hit, neighborhood, go preview the market homes. You have the MLS, you have the open houses, and just get out there.
Yeah.
That's
100% agree.
Tara's story, literally, I say that all the time in all my trainings. Like, that's when things like really clicked for me, was when I was, running into my sphere and getting together with them. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, Stevie, it seems like you're killing it. And I'm like, I haven't even had a closing yet. I never said I had a closing. I'm just showing these properties and doing 3 open houses a weekend. And yet they thought I was killing it. But I was out there educating myself on the real estate market. And honestly, I'm still doing the same thing to this day, only now I actually have closings.
Same thing. When I first started, I'm only just now starting, but in the first year, that's literally what I did. I would go around. So I think that another thing that's paralyzing is that there's so many avenues. I think the key is you need to hone in on maybe 2 or 3, 4 tops, and that become your thing. Because if you're all over the place and you're trying to implement every strategy, you're gonna never be able to do any of them well. So I think zoom in on, for me, when I first started, all I would do was send handwritten cards. I would go and preview properties that were vacant and, do videos, and I would engage. Another thing that you get rewarded for in social media is using the newest thing. So when last year, the newest thing might've been the stickers, or right now it's Instagram Reels. So you get rewarded for that in terms of being seen. So use whatever it is that the latest tool that they're offering for engagement. I would ask questions and say, do you like this light fixture? Or what do you think about this bathroom? And then I compare it to another house that I see, and that started conversations. And then that's when like people actually started wanting to go see the houses. And another thing you can do when it comes to social media is that right now there are a lot of small businesses that are really suffering in the pandemic. You can schedule times to meet with some of the local businesses and ask if you can interview them and ask questions and kind of get their name out there. They tend to be willing to do that. That kind of helps you build a connection. Like there's so many ways that you can do something initially without already having clients. But I think the important thing is you zoom in, like Sarah was saying, like keep it simple, zoom in on 2 to 3 things and like go after it at a really high level.
Well, here's my like perspective, right? For what it's worth, is that like my business was very focused on, like I started out, I was the phone animal, right? I was like inspired, but I was very specific on the 2 or 3 things that I did. I didn't do networking events. I didn't do, I did my thing, right? And I did it really well. And what I'm hearing is like you gals have made it very purposeful in what you're doing. Like this is your lead generation lever, right? This isn't by chance that you just like one day woke up and were like, oh hell, I'm getting a lot of business from social media. Maybe I ought to start doing more of this, right? Yeah. Like I love, so a couple of things down was being purposeful on what you're doing, sharing your personal story, and then the paralysis by analysis I think is really important, because I see that a lot with agents in general, just in like, well, I need to learn the buyer agreement before I do an open house. Mm-hmm. I need to learn the contract before, like, no. I tell people, look, if in your first 3 months, if you only focus on ratifying contracts and then you literally ignore it, right? Just walk away from it. Agents will hate you, right? The buyer, the agent on the other side will hate you, right? Your broker's going to be mad at you. The lender's going to be like, they don't know what they're doing. And they'll all help you close it, right? Like when you're in a deal with a terrible agent, you just work harder and you get it closed because you're a great real estate agent, right? So like be a terrible agent for 3 to 6 months, slam a bunch of deals, and then hire an assistant, and then you can be a great agent, right? You can just roll on and do your thing. But yeah, the paralysis by analysis is I think, true across the board as far as in all of it, right? Like just getting into action. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna do 10 stories a day. Like that's crazy, right? And for me, I think that another thing that I'm like reflecting on is that, and knowing you guys and following all of your social medias, is that you make it very much about the person watching and not yourself.
Yeah. I think too, they don't overcomplicate. If it's going to be 10 stories a day, I'm sure I had to look at the screen and look at the ladies that are going to shake their heads yes to this, is when we're busy, like especially when you're already running a business, you get busy. So to be able to make the 10 stories and write the caption that I want to make and like make it pretty and analyze it or like something, or normally I don't even care, I just like post it. And I usually just take something and then save it and go back to it later. Am I the only one who does that?
I do that all the time.
I got no time sometimes. Okay. Miss Rocco, you do double the business I do. So if you're posting in stories, I know that you don't have time sometimes to like analyze it, and you just save it and then go back to it, right?
Yeah, and we give everyone on our team the access to the group site, and they can all post their stories, and I think it helps get those 10 stories a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just make it a point. Honestly, any time that I'm going on, like if I'm doing something unusual, I literally would just pick up my phone and start recording while I'm walking through a house. We're touring a house that they're getting built. I'll just start recording and just save it and almost like start bashing content. So if there's a day that I'm kind of behind or I'm like chilling at home, I'll like get caught up on my stories. So my stories aren't always in real time. And another thing you can do is think through planning out your content. So if you feel like you don't have the capability of being consistent, you can use apps like Planoly, Planoly, or Later. I don't necessarily use those to post, but I use those to plan out my content so that I already know what I have prepared, for the next week or 2 weeks. so that if you get busy, you can still kind of stay consistent with getting things posted without kind of getting behind or getting off brand.
Love it. So let's shift over to. So we obviously, like all of you are great real estate agents, and you all have databases. How do you? That's the best way to ask this. Not necessarily like how do you separate database from social media, but how do you how do you implement what you're doing with social media as part of your like database touches? You know, we're all like, oh, we got to touch people, right? So how do you you know how do you or how are you strategic with your database and your social media like together, if that's a thing?
So sorry, you finished, Taria.
One really simple thing that I do is, so I might make a post for the day, and then I'll go and look and see whose birthday it is on Facebook, and then I will message them. And then when I message them, they'll be like, oh, hey, girl, thanks. And they'll probably also go look at my page and see what my last post was, which was a closing or whatever the case may be. And then they might message me back like, oh, yeah, so I've been thinking about buying. So that's something really, really simple to do.
Great. So like the you know, one of your touches being the birthday touch.
Yeah.
Very simple, right?
It's important that you have something on your page because they're probably going to go look at it that is going to engage with them. It's going to make them engage with you.
Love it. Right. So that's is that a phone call that you make? I'm sorry, I had to go turn my heat down.
No, literally in the DM.
Oh, just slide it on in there.
Yep.
Let's go. All right.
Hey, happy birthday, girl. You look fabulous. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll be looking for one of those on July 12th. All right. 5 of those. All right.
We'll follow you, Brad. So.
Fantastic. All right. So again, how else are you guys or gals? How are you engaging? Like, is that even a thing, right? Because I mean, just blow it up. If you're like, that's not a thing, then it's not a thing. So you have your database and your social media kind of running together or separate, or how do you, what's the method to the madness, right? Because like for instance, I know that like for several of you have thousands of followers, thousands of people that you're friends with, right? Like how do you discern that from like A players to, you know, realtors?
Sorry, Sarah.
I was going to say one of the books that I would encourage people to read, really starting out, is Pumpkin Plan. So Pumpkin Plan teaches you how to differentiate who you should be focusing on. And this is when you get intentional about your database. To me, my database is very different than social media. Like social media is the masses, and my database is I'm very intentional about. So we've created for all of our past clients, we call them our raving fans, a separate Facebook group for our rock stars. And they get information on like new events or our giveaways. And so we're loving on them just more intentionally than we are like the masses of social media. And that's how we take care of our database via Facebook, but more intentionally. Yeah.
I love that. Pumpkin Patch was the book?
Pumpkin Plan.
Okay.
You're all in the Thanksgiving mode.
Like right when you said it, I thought, damn, I want a pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
For me, social media and database is separate. However, I use social media to build those connections and then eventually add them to my database.
Okay. So social media, masses, database, more specific. Is that?
Oh, this is something that changed my life, so I have to share. When you create or when you have friends on Facebook, you can create and put them off into different friends lists. So I will parse everyone off into a different friends list. So it'll be maybe recruits, people I want to recruit. Mm-hmm. It'll be individuals that I'm looking to nurture, like my 20%. And then if I want to go be really intentional and don't want to waste an hour on Facebook, I'll go into that 20% group and I'm loving on them. I'm complimenting them. And again, it sounds a little bit inauthentic, but it's just being very intentional with your time. But the friends list on Facebook changed our life, I think.
That's smart.
Well, I know that Tara's like chomping at the bit because I heard her family reunion, and which I now did. So I did this when I was a team leader, right? I took all of my Greensboro agents and I put them into a specific friends list. And I started going through, and I was like, dang, I should do this for like the other people that my like sphere. And so I started breaking them out into those friends lists, and I just put together my Winston one. I got like 600 people in there. So Tara, how are you really intentional with those friends lists?
So it comes back to the DTD2 list, which is do the database too. And I love, Sarah, that you just said that because so you do the database too. So what that means is 2 letters of the alphabet. If you hit every single person 2 letters of the alphabet once a week, you actually touch everybody in your database once a quarter, and they get their 4 touches a year. So, and I can tell you this, for those that are like, oh, she's like a millennial, she does not know, I'm not going to do Facebook list. My mom is my real estate partner, and I'm going to throw her age out. I'm so sorry, Mama Dukes. She's 63 and she does this, and she taught me this. And then I went to a class and they taught this, and I've done it ever since. And I thought everybody's been doing this. So in Facebook, if you do it from your desktop, you can only do it once from your desktop, that you have to initially create the list, and then you just put people in the list. So for example, I have the alphabet list for 2 letters of the database for every alphabet. And then I also have like out of area agents, VIP clients, past clients, dog lovers, cat lovers, like you name it. Like you can put any list you possibly want, but nobody knows that they were in a list. Like it's like a private Facebook group, but nobody knows that they're in it. Like they don't get an alert that says like, hey, you just joined this list. So what my favorite group is, and this is, sorry for the local agents that are in my area that are listening. My favorite list is the local realtors, because I block all you out of my posts all the time. So a perfect example is like, if I'm going to post, hey, I have a buyer that's looking in Rio Vista, Fort Lauderdale. We're looking for an off-market property and $800,000 price range. Who do you know that I should know? What do you think we get? I get a bunch of realtors that just put out their MLS numbers. Well, no ish, Sherlock. Like I didn't post that to be able to get realtors to give me your MLS numbers that I can see from MLS. I posted that for sellers to see that I also work with buyers. So it's a strategic process that if you're just going to focus on the people whose last names or first names start with A and W this week, then I can go into the list, and then my news feed is just those people that start with A and W. And then when I post in that group, they're the only people that can ever see that. So my analytics just increased by 70% because I'm just posting in that group specifically. Or if I want to post a regular post and block out all the local realtors, I can just go to post a regular status, and I could block and say, everybody can see for visibility except for the group local realtors.
I have to chime in. I'm loving this panel, and I think everybody's doing that at a high level because we all have created systems for social media.
Yeah, no, I mean, all of you have your niches, as they say. So I love that. So that's how you're engaging that. So we've got about 10, 15 minutes left. I have another question, but I want to open it up to you guys. What's one thing that you're like someone like me that's like, been an agent for a few years, they do business in other ways, but they're like, I want to start doing more business through social media. Like, what are my first steps? Like, how do I like start moving from, what I do, which is, now that I'm learning, it's very centric towards me and not other people, which probably isn't the best strategy, versus what you guys are doing. So what are some tips for folks that are starting out?
I think start just showing the behind the scenes, because you don't have to switch up anything that you're already doing to implement your business, and you're just showcasing. That literally takes seconds. Doing a quick video, because everyone wants to see video. They would much rather see that than you doing a post about it and read your long caption. So just Instagram stories, which one thing that I am super excited about, currently LinkedIn is now doing stories. And I feel like LinkedIn's been a really awesome part of my business. And now that I feel like be able to showcase like the more personal behind the scenes aspect of things is just really going to boost that side of social media.
Love it.
I feel like people don't talk enough about LinkedIn, so I love that you just shared that.
If you were trying to start, I would think about content constantly. So I'd get a cheap tripod. I'd set it up. There was one time I set up a tripod at a seller's house. It was raining. I set it underneath maybe the garage or whatever, carport. And I just videoed myself moving patio furniture in the rain because I still had to get it ready for a photographer the next day. I got so many responses from that because people were so impressed that realtors don't just like put a sign in the yard and leave. Like we hustle and we work. And so things that you're already normally doing, show it, like show your losses while you're also showing your wins. But like you said, it's not requiring a lot more work because these are things that you're already going to be doing. Just set up a camera and show it. That's one option that you can do just to show your everyday life. And that starts to pick up your engagement. And the more you do it, the more people who become interested in it. I think that you choose 3 things that you're going to talk about. And if your posts don't align with those 3 things, don't talk about it. Like keep things really simple and just do that over and over and over again.
What are your 3 things?
Mine? So I have things that I'll talk about on my actual feed. And then my stories are a little bit more behind the scenes, a little bit more raw and not as clean. I have 4 pillars. So I talk about money, I talk about mortgages, I talk about motherhood, and I talk about motivation. So I always post quotes. And there's like you can't see it, but there's like a bit of a pattern to it. And I don't post the things that have like spikes of engagement every day because I want it to be mixed up. But like, believe it or not, just a quote with like the right, you can't see it, but like a quote with like the right captions gets, 300 or 400 likes because there are people in the world of like motivation and discipline and like, all that kind of stuff. That's like their jam. And I do that because and then I'll also use like local hashtags in addition to things that are a little bit more national. And then I research hashtags to see which hashtags have 1,000 plus followers, which hashtags has 200,000 plus followers, because you want a mixture of the group of people who are paying attention to hashtags because people follow hashtags. And what ends up happening is that I get a really consistent group of people who are local, and then I get people who are a little bit further. And the benefit there is that I have gotten a lot of deals this year from referrals from people who followed me consistently and they trusted me as a realtor. And they're like, hey, who do you recommend in Arizona? And then I find somebody in Arizona and make money off that deal.
Where did you learn all? Where the hell did you learn all this? First of all, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you learn stuff like that?
I watch people like Sold by Stevie and Tara Carter, and I listen to them on podcasts, and I watch people on YouTube, and I learn. And I think somebody asked, like, how often do you look at your metrics? Like, you need to have a business account. Like, if you're not going to combine your personal and business, definitely have a business, because you need to be able to see your insights and see how are people responding to what you're doing. And so now I know what type of response I'm going to get to every single post. I know what type of response I'm going to get to. And now, like, even when I post something that's sold, people don't care just to see a house, but I still post them because now I post a story behind it. So if I post a story about a single mom who worked her butt off to get this house, I promise you, right behind that, I'm going to get my inbox is going to be flooded with single moms that are like, how do I do that? How do I buy a house for me and my son? And not to be gimmicky, that's genuinely what happens, and they feel connected to their stories. But yeah, watching other people who are doing it well, I don't like to recreate the wheel. Like, I learn from the people who are good at it, and
You know that Stevie's doing something right because she just referred to you as Sold by Stevie. Let's right there. Like that's how you know when you're doing social media, right? Like when people recognize me for flamingos, or she just literally just said sold by Stevie. She didn't say Stevie. That shows that Stevie is consistent with her brand and her marketing, that her message is sold by Stevie. And that's how she in Winston-Salem just connected Stevie. Does that make sense?
And Best Dressed Realtor. I followed her. I didn't know her name, but I knew she was Best Dressed Realtor. And when I saw, I was like, oh, that's Best Dressed Realtor in our inbox. So, yeah.
I'm switching mine. Brad Kiger, the real estate tiger. That's right. I'm switching it up. I'm legally going to change my name. I'm going to the wherever you do that tomorrow.
I see someone asked about equipment, and so I want to give 2 suggestions, and I don't get paid for these sponsorships. Smooth stabilizing selfie stick is amazing. Smooth is SMOOVE. And then Vlog Easy, Vlog VLOG. Easy is really great for telling your story or telling stories, storytelling. So those 2 are hacks I think would be great for new agents.
Agreed. And the one hack that I would like to share is what my financial coach, who I love so much, Matt Plummer, has given me that has been very consistent, is sticking to 50-20-5-1 rule every day when you wake up. So what that looks like is every day my goal is, so like when you have a 411, which for those not with KW, like you have a goal for your week or your month. The 50 is 50 likes, hearts, whatever it is. It's 20 comments with more than 3 words. It's 5 conversations and 1 new appointment is the social media goal daily. So if I don't hit that for one day, then I need to transfer that over to the next day. So it's 50-20-5-1. 50 likes, hearts, 20 comments, more than 3 words, 5 conversations, and 1 new appointment.
Nice.
And if I hit that, then it's like, if I hit that before like 11 a.m., I'm at the pool by like 2. And I'm like, okay, we're at time's hand.
All right. No need to brag about being in the pool.
South Florida.
All right. Yeah,
Korea, we didn't hear from you. What gems do you have?
I have a bunch, but I'm going to need people to go ahead and sign up for my social media class that's coming up. And that's where I'll be telling all my inside secrets.
Love that.
Oh, where can everybody be found on social media?
Brad Kiger, the real estate tiger, hashtag. It's coming. I
mean, you should have like a little tiger. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I'm changing the whole branding, the whole 9. I'm jumping on it tonight. Tara Carter, how can we find you? How can we follow you? How can we send you referrals?
So everything is consistent. You can flamingo with me on Facebook or Instagram at misstaracarter.com. It's MS because I'm not married. So MS Tara Carter.
MS Tara Carter, love it. Sold by Stevie.
Yes, find me on Instagram, and then I also have a YouTube channel, and I do a lot of
She froze.
He froze.
Can you hear Stevie?
Sold by Stevie, though.
Yeah.
I actually really just started following her, and I really enjoy her stuff, so you should follow her.
She'll come back around. Alonda Hawkins, how do we find you, follow you? How do we send you referrals?
You can find me on Instagram at Alonda the Agent. You see my name there, Alonda, ALLONDA. Oh, and here, that was purposeful. Alonda the Agent on Instagram, and probably the same for Facebook.
Love it.
Yeah.
Sarah.
So we are the rock stars. For the last name, the Rocco group, anything rock related is us. So you can find us under the Rocco group or Sarah Rocco on Instagram.
Love it. Thanks, Sarah. Taria.
Best Dressed Realtor on Instagram. And I just have to do a plug really quickly. Property Spark named me #1 out of 20 Chesapeake realtors, and then #1 out of the whole Virginia out of 50 realtors.
Nice.
Which is pretty dope.
Nice. Oh,
yeah.
myself too. I was number 20 out of 100 in North Carolina.
Where do I get into this game?
No, I was number 20.
They find you. They'll find you. I have no idea. They messaged me one day. Did they just message you, Alonda?
Yeah.
They message you and they're like, "Hey, you're voted." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
And mine, even though I don't have a large following, it was just high engagement, which is, a big deal.
What number?
According to them. 22. I said 20, but it was 22 out of 100.
I'm gonna be 21st next year. That's my goal.
Fine, because I'm gonna be higher than that one.
Hey, let's go. Fantastic. I'm the real estate tiger for all your DC referral partner needs. So I'm gonna start coining that. I think I'm on that. My big takeaway was to just share more and be myself more and just put that content out there. And it sounds like the people that like it, that are drawn to it, are going to go that way. And the people that aren't are just going to ignore you, which they're already doing if you're not doing that. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So, so I love that. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. I know you all are super, super busy. You're all rock stars. Anything else from from Facebook? I know I've got someone said dope, which you guys are dope, so that's great. What equipment do you use? Gimbals, etc. Sarah touched on that. Someone said yes, Brad, love it, and thank you. Yes, I love it.
Somebody texted me. They said, "Woot woot, so good." I don't know who that was.
Let's go. We had a couple hundred at least in different parts of this. So we're going to shut it down. 9:01. Well, we had to do this late because all you West Coast people that need to get on Eastern time. So, but anyway, look, I really appreciate you all. I know that everyone else does. This will be reposted, so you can come back and watch it at any time. Let's give a big round of applause for everybody. You guys did a fantastic job, and have a fantastic night. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.